Hello and welcome to this broadcast of Running on Love with God. My name is Lori Michelle, and I was awakened to the voice of our Creator in April of 2009, and now I'm broadcasting from Israel and going deeper into topics that are timely and providing information that we sorely need. I'm in Israel, and my co-host Anna Marie is in Chicago. Hi, Anna Marie. And tonight we're going to talk about a topic that is in the media all the time. We're going to talk about bigotry. And I named this program, Why is Bigotry Completely Nonsensical? Everybody knows that bigotry is evil, but why do I call it nonsensical? The reason I call it nonsensical is we are really not this. We're truly not our bodies. So in essence, to define ourselves by the color of our skin is nonsense. This is a vessel. This is our body. This is our clothing while we walk the earth. And being here in body is a blessing, but who we truly are is a non-physical spirit created by our Creator, Hashem God, and we are made of the same stuff that He is. And He is colorless. So to define ourselves, I should say, as black, white, yellow, red is nonsense. And for others to define us by our color is also ludicrous. So with that, I'm going to turn the floor over to you and answer questions, Anna Marie, about bigotry and why it's utter nonsense.
Okay, first of all, I understand you shouldn't judge others based on what they look like, but yet it's a pretty natural thing to want to hang out and be with people who are like you. So where's the dividing line there?
And there's nothing wrong with that. That's not bigotry. If you want to marry someone of the same race or color or ethnicity or religion, there's nothing wrong with that. That's not being racist. Some people might consider that if you don't want to date someone of a different color or ethnicity, you're being a white supremacist, or I don't know what a black person would be called in reverse. We'll talk about reverse racism too, but there's nothing wrong with that. Like people attract. Sometimes people of opposite races attract. We see a lot of people of color married to white people, and it's
Right.
fine.
Okay, and also sometimes profiling can be helpful. Like, for example, I read that in the Israel airports, they do
Yes.
all kinds of profiling where
It's perfectly not only legal, it's preferred. We profile.
Okay, so and explain why that's not bigotry.
Because even the FBI has a profile. It doesn't mean you're racist or a bigot when there is a certain preponderance of people who commit certain crimes and they happen to be of a certain nationality or religion or what have you. But even the FBI profiles, don't they?
Yes.
Right. So safety first. We worry about bruising your feelings after. We keep people safe. But I have to say that they do break the mold. So when I fly El Al, for example, to come to Israel, they don't take for granted that you are who you say you are or what you look like. And I've heard stories where they will go up to a Hasidic rabbi and ask him questions about the Torah to make sure that he's not wearing a disguise. So while they do profile, they don't take for granted that someone isn't dressed like someone else or wearing a costume.
Okay. So now this isn't profiling, but this is also judging by appearance. It can be useful. Like, for example, if you're trying to teach your child who to go to for help if they get lost in public. I think most mothers would teach their children, you find somebody who looks like a mother and ask her for help.
Yet, I have to tell you that I just watched yesterday. It's interesting that you brought that up. I just watched a video on YouTube of a human trafficking survivor, and she broke free. She found help. She was being sold into sex slavery, and it's horrible. Her story was horrible, and she found herself in a difficult situation again where she had no help. And a woman came up to her and said, "Oh, you look so sweet," a motherly woman, and said, "I want to take care of you. I want to be a mother to you," and embraced her and took her right back into slavery. So it's not foolproof. You
Oh.
really don't know who you're dealing with anymore. And so the color, we're talking about racism, bigotry, and identifying people by their gender or their color or any of that is ridiculous. Evil comes in all kinds of packages, and we need to become more aware of what evil is and guard ourselves against it. There are very good people who are being defined right now as bigots, and they're not. They're just ordinary people speaking their mind. And that's one of the things that I said in the write-up of this program, is that we're so hypersensitive right now over what bigotry truly is, that a lot of good people are being labeled something that they're not, because they're speaking about their values, about their religious values, and they're being called homophobes or racists or white supremacists because they're talking about their values. So where does freedom of speech begin and offending others end?
Okay, so and that is a really good question. How do we know when if we are acting from bigotry or if we're just expressing our values? And wouldn't a bigot just say, well, those are my values?
True, they could. Um, let's talk about freedom of speech a little bit, because this is complicated. And the best way to figure out the right and wrongness of a situation is to peel it apart. So there's not going to be one foolproof answer for that fits every single situation. But let's talk about freedom of speech for a moment.
Okay.
There's freedom of speech in America, and it's coming into question now when people like, for example, I watch a lot of YouTube videos of Ben Shapiro and Jordan Peterson. They're conservative. And then I've been watching a lot of liberal speakers like Sam Harris, who's an atheist. And they're all espousing different viewpoints. And it's pretty civil, but when they're going into public forums, there's protests and it's violent, and people are calling for violence against them and coming armed with billy clubs and Molotov cocktails. It's horrible. So free speech, what is free speech? Should these speakers have a right to speak about their conservative values? And maybe, like you said, maybe they are racist and that's their opinion. But where does free speech begin, and are they allowed to say their opinion if it's racist? Hashem just said no. It's hurtful and it's evil. That's interesting. I wasn't going to say that. It goes to show you, I don't know everything. He knows everything. When it's evil, thank you, Hashem. I'm lost. I'm in the weeds. He said, when it's evil, it's hurtful. You're hurting someone. When it's the truth, it's from God. So if you're espousing that Black people are less than white people, that's pure evil. You shouldn't be allowed to speak like that. It's divisive. But to counter it with more evil, and come with billy clubs and look for violence to shut up whoever you don't like is more evil. Two wrongs never make a right.
So is the term white privilege a racist term? Is that an evil term?
Thank you, Hashem. He said it's absolutely a racist term.
Okay, because I know plenty of white people who have led privileged lives, and I know even more who have not. So to group everybody into one category and say that we've all gotten off easy because of our skin color.
He just said being born privileged is not a crime. He says it's a blessing. It's how you use that. And when people call you, what did you call it? A white
privilege.
White privilege. He says it's hate-filled, it's resentment, it's filled with jealousy, it's pure evil.
Okay.
You might be white and you might be privileged, but in this day and age, there are a lot of Black people, Asian people who are also very wealthy and their children are born into privilege, and no one's calling them Asian privileged. Suddenly, if you're white and you're born with a silver spoon, it's a negative. You have to defend yourself. You shouldn't have to defend yourself. And let's go back to the very beginning of this program where I said, we're not our color. You are white, I'm white, but in another life, we might have been journeying as another color. It's what we are in this moment. And now I have a funny vision that Hashem showed me. I'm going to share it with you.
Yeah.
I was talking about race and how when I came to Israel, I didn't realize there are Jews. It's like America. There are Jewish people from the Sudan, from Ethiopia. There are Black people with kippas. There are Asian people, Chinese people. They're Filipino, and they're all Jews. And it was enlightening. You don't see that in America. I don't know if you see that in America, but very rare.
It's rare.
Very rare. And so I was talking about this subject matter with Hashem, and he showed me a vision of the Kotel. And suddenly I saw this 10-foot tall, very holy looking man walking away from the Kotel, and I knew it was Hashem, but he was Black. And that was a very symbolic vision showing me that Hashem is of all colors. We all come from him. So to say that you're better, you're privileged because you're white, or Black power, or Black Lives Matter is another one that I find very offensive. The premise of why it started, I don't even know. But I know there's a lot of problems with hate crimes and police brutality. And I believe that's probably where it emanated from. Am I right?
Well, that's what I remember, but I don't know for sure.
I'm not sure, but it's a whole movement. And every time I hear Black Lives Matter, I think my life matters. Your life matters. Asian people matter. And the movement should be our lives matter. We all come from him. And I find it nonsensical, divisive, and we should all be on the same page. We should all be working together to come together. Black Lives Matter is very divisive. Calling someone white privilege is very divisive, very negative.
So do you want to talk a little bit about politically correct speech and the dangers of that and how it keeps morphing? You know, words that were once considered polite are now offensive.
Yeah, it's frightening. You know what I believe? I believe in God. I believe in the Torah. I believe in his laws. So if I come out and say on this program, and I have said this on this program, in previous programs, that marriage is defined from God as being holy matrimony between a man and a woman. and that's it. Now, am I going to get hate mail? Am I going people are going to get angry with me. It's not about making people happy. It's about telling the truth. And if you look at every major religion, meaning the monotheistic religions, the Western religions, Islam, Christianity, Judaism, they all acknowledge that what I just said is a fact. It's a doctrine in all three religions. Why am I not allowed to say that? But there was good news about a week ago, right? And the Supreme Court ruled that a baker was allowed to exercise his freedom of religion by not baking a wedding cake for a gay couple. And a lot of liberals were up in arms and very upset about it. But we should be able to practice our religion and speak our mind about what we believe in.
Okay, but then on the other side, aren't we discriminating against gay couples?
He says no. He's asking the question, I guess we'll delve deeper into this. What is discrimination? What is discrimination defined as? Can you look it up?
Yeah, I can look it up, but I would say it's probably making a decision based on who somebody is or how they appear rather than any other factors.
Right.
You know, instead of deciding who's your customer.
There's a reason he's asking us to decide what discrimination is. So
discrimination, the unjust or prejudicial treatment of different categories of people or things, especially on the grounds of race, age, or sex.
Okay. He said gay's not part of that, is it? But what was the first part? Discriminating against?
The unjust or prejudicial treatment of different categories of people or things, especially on the grounds of race, age, or sex.
So it's not race, age, or sex.
Yeah, well.
So when did the world decide that gay is a category? He says it's an inclination. So if I have an inclination for doing something that the world thinks is evil, like having relations with animals, God forbid. It's disgusting, right?
That's awful.
Now I'm going to get more hate mail because I'm comparing gays to bestiality. But there was a time before Noah where this was a real problem, and it's probably a problem now, but nobody wants to talk about it. But what if that was my inclination? Is that now going to be something that is legally protected and we can't discriminate because, it's my business what I want to do with my German Shepherd?
Right, and it's your body, and so you can do what you want with your body.
Right. So it's really not discrimination. It's your inclination to choose your body over your spirit. We are truly spirit. This body, what we're housed in, is a vessel, and it's temporary, and it's a gift. So when you're choosing to be gay or change your gender or change the pronoun that someone should refer to you as, you're changing what God gave you. So all of this, all these pronouns and all of these inclinations that people want to be identified with as gay or homosexual or lesbian or whatever they want to be identified with, goes against the existence of God. Whether anyone wants to hear that or not, I'm telling the truth. And here's my freedom of speech. It smacks against his model of what he created for our entire world. He created 2 genders. He didn't create a variety. It's not, go to the supermarket and pick a different brand of peanut butter. We get 2 genders, and he decides before we get here. So our feelings really have nothing to do with discrimination. We shouldn't purposefully go out of our way to hurt someone's feelings. But if someone's smacking against our religious beliefs and is deciding to marry someone of the same gender, and we believe in God, and God said that that is against his laws, then we should have the freedom to say no. No, period. No, I don't want to support that. That goes against my religious beliefs. It's not discrimination.
In the write-up for this show, you asked, is political correctness a new form of bigotry? Is it?
Hashem says yes. It 100% is bigotry, because people who are requiring us to use these new pronouns or refer to them in certain ways or accept their ideology and not allowing us to speak our mind and be who we want to be is discriminating against us. Suddenly, I'm not allowed to espouse what I believe in and be the person that I believe in. So they're attacking the religious people who believe in God, the atheists. And I assume they're atheists, although I have watched online homosexuals trying to justify homosexuality as appropriate and approved by God. It's a stretch, but they try to do that. And I'm not against homosexuals. I'm against homosexuality. And he says that's correct. It's not the person who's choosing these behaviors, the person who's choosing to change their gender surgically, the person who's choosing these things are souls, and they're misguided, and they're choosing the wrong thing. And that's my opinion. My opinion is that I can call that out, that that's evil, that that's against God, and I should be allowed to say that. I'm not saying anybody should harm them. I'm not saying that they don't have a right to be. They can choose what they want, but at the end of the day, Hashem, God, is the arbiter and decides what will happen with them, not me. I'm not judging them. I'm just looking at a behavior and I'm saying this is wrong. When a school teaches alternate lifestyles as though it's all okay and it's all love, and your child has to go to public school and sit there and learn those things, that's bringing their set of morals to my children. And that's bigotry. That's wrong. That shouldn't be in the school at all.
At the opening of the show, you said that many people are called bigots now who really aren't.
Right.
Can you either give some examples, or can you say, how do you get out of that name-calling conversation?
Well, it's happening all the time. I think there was a video I just saw. Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey is a broadcaster, and he's a black man. And he was commenting on, was it football?
The Cavaliers, a basketball team.
Basketball. I apologize. I don't watch professional sports anymore. And he called them apes.
No, gorillas.
Gorillas? Oh,
yeah.
I'm mixing it up with Roseanne.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I
misspoke.
A big physical team, and he said, you got to watch out when you're playing that team. They're a bunch of gorillas.
Right. Now, I read the article and I saw the video.
Okay.
And I believe he meant that as a compliment. I really do believe that they're big and they're strong and you can't stop them. And he called them gorillas like that was a compliment. It wasn't racist, in my opinion. And how would it be that a black man like that would be racist against his own people?
Right.
It's getting ridiculous that I think he's a comedian, right?
Yeah, he has a game show and he has a talk show, and yeah, he also does stand-up comedy. He's very funny. But when I read that comment, I just thought, yeah, they're a big, tough team. That's all I thought he was saying.
So you didn't think of it as racist?
No, not at all.
Okay. The other thing was Roseanne. When I saw that comment, I didn't even know who this woman was. What's her name again? I keep saying
Valerie Jarrett.
I keep calling her Pamela. I didn't know who she was. So I looked at her. First of all, I never thought Roseanne was a racist. And I looked at the picture and I said, I think this woman's Jewish. She looks like she has a shadel. She looked like she had a shadel on and a tan. And I thought she was, Roseanne has a very off-color sense of humor. Sometimes she really can be offensive. That's her model for her her comedic style. And that's what I thought. I think this woman's Jewish. And then I read a tweet that Roseanne said, I didn't even know she was black. I thought she was Jewish. I thought she was an Iranian Jew. And I thought, yeah, that's what she looks like. She looked like a Jewish lady. I didn't realize that she was, a black woman. So,
well, she's only partial anyway, I think. Isn't she mixed race?
Whatever.
Yeah.
But that's the whole point of the program is we're not this. I look like a funny looking old Jewish lady, and that's what I look like now. I am a Jewish lady. By the way, spiritually, that's the only designation we truly have. There are Jewish neshamas and non-Jewish. And if you want to know what that is, I'll have to do a whole nother program. But the Jewish neshama is different than every other neshama. It's older. The oldest souls of humanity are the Jewish souls. But we're all made of Hashem, God. We all come from him, and we're all colorless. We don't really have a color. And right now I have a big Jewish nose, but, I could fix it, but I didn't. It's not who I am. I am not my nose. I am Lori. So, if you're black, you're black in the moment. You can enjoy your skin. And by the way, I live here in Tiberias, and there's so much sun. I wish I had more
Yeah. Melatonin.
Melatonin. I wish I had that in my skin. I think black people age much better than I do. So.
Or maybe it's melanin, but whatever.
Whatever.
Okay, so final question.
Yes.
If I say, Lori, you're a bigot, how do you respond?
That's ridiculous. I am not. I'm not offended. It's the last thing that I would be, is a bigot. In fact, I check myself, and that's what we should all be doing. Are we prejudging someone because of their age, because of their gender, because of their color? It's insane. It's really nonsensical, because I speak to Hashem, but one of the other things that I am able to do is I actually see sort of an image of him, and it's colorless. He's not black, white, Asian, or anything. He's God. And that's what we truly are. We are a microcosm of him, the greatest energy in the universe. And he's real. And all of this nonsense and all this fighting comes from the fact that the people who are the angriest and the most divisive don't really know that he's real. Because if you knew where you came from and you knew what you really were inside, you wouldn't be fighting with your neighbor. You would be coming together in love and understanding. That's what we are. We're pure love. He's pure love. I hope you enjoyed this program of Running on Love with God. I'm sure I probably ruffled a few feathers, but telling the truth can do that. Go to LoriMichelle.net, watch some other programs there. There'll be more. And we're coming close to releasing the book. I hope it's soon. But keep watching, and I will announce when that book is finally available, because it's the work of world peace, and we need peace now. God bless you. May there be world peace in our time. God bless you.